The year is 2025, and Netflix is about to launch what they say will be the start of their next big cinematic universe.
It felt really cinematic.
It's been in production for the last 8 years, and with a budget of around $320 million, it's the most expensive movie they've ever made. It has everything. An all-star cast.
What do they call you, Pratt?
Yep. Pratt. CP, right? Isn't that what you call me, Allison? CP?
The directors who made the last 2 Avengers movies.
It's massive. From Avengers Endgame, giant, ambitious.
And over 200 robots. Absolutely nuts.
Nuts.
What could possibly go wrong?
Best script I've ever read.
Get ready.
Get ready for what?
Flashback to 2017. Swedish artist Simon Stålenhag launches a Kickstarter for The Electric State, a graphic novel that's not like any other. It's presented more like a cinematic mood board, just a girl and her robot going across a decaying 1990s science fiction version of America. No exposition dumping, just straight up world building through detailed visuals and text blurbs. The message about technology and corporate decay is clear as day, without the need for a single long preachy speech.
Heavily reminiscent of Star Wars, only with more corporate logos and dead people.
To put something out there, if it's a painting or if it's writing, like to put something out there and say, this is a little snippet of what I think the world feels like.
It makes around $150,000 in just 2 days. Fans gush online. It's the most cinematic thing never filmed. Naturally, Hollywood comes bidding for movie rights around a year before it's even on store shelves. Enter the Russo brothers.
We love being told good stories, and we love telling good stories.
Around the time they're finishing up directing Avengers Endgame, they come across Simon's Kickstarter and see their next billion-dollar franchise. From a marketing standpoint, it's a dream come true. Just think about it. A cult-like fan base, post-apocalyptic world, filled to the brim with 90s nostalgia. The thing even has an iconic cartoon mascot already. They got the entire Marvel fan base wrapped around their finger with this. The whole having no plot thing to go off is a risk they're willing to take. Universal Pictures signs on. Andy Muschietti, who just adapted the 2019 It reboot, is set to direct, and Millie Bobby Brown is cast in the lead role. The Russo brothers are behind the scenes producing. Everything's locked in. Until it isn't. Andy Muschietti leaves to direct his passion project. And the Russos have no choice but to step in as directors. Over the next few years, the budget balloons past $200 million, and Universal gets nervous. It's a lot of money for something so hit or miss. The source material's slow, bleak, and there's a little bit of trouble figuring out the narrative. So they walk.
It's tricky. We tried to make this one in the studio system. It just wasn't going to be affordable.
And the Russos take it to Netflix, a company that doesn't just want to hit. They see Disney's success with the Marvel and Star Wars interconnected universe thing, and want something like that of their own. Merchandise, spin-offs, the kind of franchises that build theme parks and licensing empires. Funny thing is, they've already tried this same thing with The Gray Man. Another $200 million movie directed by the Russos, featuring an A-list cast, with planned sequels to turn this into a universe. The response? Lukewarm.
I enjoyed the Gray Man movie, but it was not as good as your book.
Well, thank you for saying that.
It just wasn't the same story. They Hollywoodized it.
Absolutely. What I say, and I don't know how this makes me sound, is like the movie is the best possible commercial for my writing. And if you're a writer, you want eyeballs on your work. And so, it's not as gritty. It's not...
Not nearly.
Critics said it looks expensive and felt empty, and the cinematic universe collapsed before it even began.
Maybe this movie showcases the Russo brothers' biggest pitfall as directors. They need quality control.
But thanks to their business model relying mostly on subscriptions, they can afford to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on an absolute flop without worrying about box office numbers or scaring investors. So they say, second time's a charm. Hand full control over to the Russos, give them a big blank check, and tell them to do exactly what they did with Gray Man. Brighter colors, more jokes, more Marvel.
If you ran up, tried to do it twice and went, what's wrong with the engine? Turned around and grabbed this and went, why is it unplugged? Did you not charge the... it's just like a series of bits about cords and plugs with these two.
Fast forward to fall 2022. Netflix officially announces they're in production and releases a list of the cast. This thing is absolutely stacked. It captures the news headlines' attention.
The Electric State.
Brothers were once again able to gather a top-class star lineup that is in no way inferior to its previous movies.
Meanwhile, fans online are now starting to fear the worst. How would you turn this book into a film? What did the Russos need to get right? It's obviously fundamentally an extremely visual experience. They need to get the cinematography right as an absolute #1 priority. That means believable and not too CGI. For that aspect, I believe the Russos can deliver.
This film is one of the most ambitious visual effects movies I've ever worked on in terms of the number of CG characters that we have to develop.
Yeah, we've done a lot of movies that require an extensive visual effect work. This might be the one that it was the most complex.
The VFX don't look good, this movie doesn't work at all.
Yeah. The tone, hands down. The entire thing could be ruined if the tone isn't right. Well, if you only knew.
There's a departure in tone from the book, a very intentional departure from tone, to broaden out the movie, to have it appeal to a family audience, because we wanted kids to see the film.
Can you talk a little bit about which elements were so important to keep present in the film?
I think it was the theme of the book. And I think it's about being kind and staying connected to each other.
The power of the book lies in how unsettling these images are.
That was the most important thing to us. We have kids that are all Gen Z, part of the technological generation, and we made this movie for them.
But it just wasn't the same story. They Hollywoodized it.
It doesn't take long for this project to lose focus. You see, just like they've done in the past, the Russos go on an all-out spending spree. The first thing on the list, to hire 6 different VFX studios to make 175 different robots, all rendered with their own set of fully moving parts, but none of the scary abominations you see in the book. Remember how the book was really good at sending a message without saying anything at all?
And I also think, like, if I would do stuff that really clearly states my political beliefs, it would be bad art.
How about instead we have the characters give literal speeches?
And you talk now.
We feel like it speaks very powerfully to what we're all going through today.
I know the war happened, and things fell apart, and life really sucked. And maybe for a little while, the neurocasters helped you forget that. We got so used to it that we thought that's what real life was. But it's not. Real life, it's contact. It's you and me. We're flesh and bone, yeah, but we're also electricity. And when we hug and laugh and hold hands and argue, my particles stay with you and yours stay with me.
Best script I've ever read.
In 2024, fans finally get a first look.
What is this all about? Seattle, my hometown, bang bang. Oh my gosh.
To the general public, it looks interesting.
The fact that, of course, it stars Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt.
A lot of good actors. I have a, March 14th, PG-13. It doesn't look bad.
But for fans of the book, it confirms their worst fears.
This is my favorite book that isn't a manga.
To double check that I hadn't time traveled to April Fool's Day after watching this trailer. Because what the hell was this?
The first trailer came out last week, and it was so bad that I'm already wishing that they would remake this movie.
I think one person read the book, wrote notes, gave them to the rest of the team, and then were promptly fired for doing their job.
It's probably gonna suck. And basically just turned it into a very generic sci-fi flick. And then you've got Millie Bobby Brown as the lead. Look, I don't care. Sorry, but outside of Stranger Things, everything I've seen her in is completely awful.
Then there's the budget. Behind the scenes, it skyrocketed to around $320 million, making it not just the most expensive Netflix original, but one of the most expensive movies of all time.
$320 million. It just looks really goofy and bland.
Part of that cost comes from the tight deadlines, which due to a break from an offset car casualty, are now even tighter.
Are you kidding me?
But even with all the money spent on VFX and labor, the internet finds out that the Russos have been incorporating AI into their voice acting work.
The ending message is, the robots are just as human as the humans. You mean the guys with an AI movie studio are defending the robots? Oh my gosh.
Some claim the budget is closer to $390 million when you count the marketing. And they went all out on the marketing, dressing this movie up like it's going to be the start of something big, even if it's not.
About a week ago, Funko announced an entire line of pops.
Some of the things they spend money on are an Electric State podcast,
C-3PO human robot and R2-D2.
Welcome back to State Secrets, the companion podcast for the Russo brothers' newest film, The Electric State. Will reflect on the filmmaking journey.
They also make a Netflix exclusive mobile game.
How original.
Hire an actual robotics lab to make real life robots that say jokes.
For a human, you make a pretty great robot.
And I am called Louise. We are proud veterans of the robot-human war, which the stupid meatbags somehow won.
Louise, can you say something nice?
And of course, there's a bunch of ads with Mr. Peanut, who's one of the main characters in the movie.
I signed that peace treaty because it recognized robots as a people. I don't guess you'd know what it's like to have your very right to exist depend on a piece of paper.
Are you ready for this one? Mr. Peanut. He's actually the reason I've been so excited about this movie, because if you guys don't know, I am a big fan of like advertising characters.
Fast forward to March 2025, the day has finally arrived.
We finally got to see Millie Bobby Brown in the flesh.
There's a massive red carpet viewing. The energy is up.
I live on a farm, so
try not to think about the forest and just focus on the tree. And
there's not one Seinfeld reference in this whole movie. One of the biggest influences of the 90s, and there's like nothing.
The cast is all there. Besides Giancarlo Esposito, he's just enjoying life. However, the next day, the Russos look at their computer, and the internet is on fire. It's bad.
Have you ever watched a movie that was so unbelievably bad that it ruined your entire day?
When was the point where you decided I should stop trying to take this seriously? Was it 10 minutes in where Mr. Peanut was the leader?
They have attacked humans, and you're telling me that they're not going to deactivate all of the robots?
No, because they have rights.
How? A bunch of humans are dead, and
Listen.
we had a war!
The movie's now getting more attention than all the prior days combined, and for all the wrong reasons.
This movie cost $320 million to make. And if you can see all those dollars there on screen, you are better at this than we are.
15% on Rotten Tomatoes, headlines calling it the worst movie of 2025, and oh no, Roger Ebert gives it a 2 out of 4.
This is the most tax write-off movie I've ever seen.
It had predictable story, the writing was terrible, it gave no time for the characters to build up anything.
It's really not that good. It's a bunch of robots punching each other and stuff, and they're going, yeah, all excited and stuff, because, robots punching each other, that kind of stuff. Instead, you're just sitting there going,
Despite all the bad reviews, horrible profit margins, and the fact that this is the second time Netflix has made the same exact mistake, shareholders don't even flinch. Instead, this movie demonstrates how different Netflix is from the traditional movie studio, and how easily they could spend so much money for a middling result without Wall Street's noticing. Its stock is even slightly up this week. For them, it's all about views and building a portfolio. In fact, Netflix's chief content officer recently said she'd greenlight the project all over again. Take from that what you will, but that sounds to me like sequel. However, it looks like the Russo brothers are facing a slightly worse outcome if they don't play their cards right. Each movie following Avengers Endgame has made chips in their reputation, and the public's reception of each one has gotten progressively worse. They are supposed to direct the next 2 Avengers movies, but after these flops, people are starting to question whether that's the best choice. As for the author, Simon Stålenhag, he really likes the movie.
For me, the book is like a keyhole into our world, and so it's really exciting to see them coming in and bust the doors wide open.
It may not be as bleak as fans like.
I feel like relating this movie to the book at all is just such a spit in the face to the original author.
But according to some interviews from the past, that was never exactly Simon's goal.
A lot of this, like being cynical and just focusing on that, like look how bad things are. That's just kind of, it's almost like an aesthetic. You have to provide some humanity, like some hope. You have to be serious.